to our stream. We're going to be getting started very, very soon here. Right now, hello there, guys. Welcome to our stream. We're going to be getting started very, very soon here. Right now, hello there, guys. Welcome to our stream. We're going to be getting started very, very soon here. Right now, hello there, guys. Welcome to our stream. We're going to be getting started very, very soon here. Right now, hello there, guys. Welcome to our stream. We're going to be getting started very, very soon here. Right now, hello there, guys. Welcome to our stream. We're going to be getting started very, very soon here. Right now, hello there, guys. Welcome to our stream. We're going to be getting started very, very soon here. Right now, hello there. Hey, how's it going, guys? I see we already have a few of you here. That's good to hear. I do want to apologize in advance. Fortunately, I've got a bit of a cold here. I'm a little bit sick, so you're going to hear a lot of coughing from Agrippa Maxenius today. I do apologize for that. We want to give people about a minute to get in here and see if they can't go ahead and make it on time and basically get everybody a chance to see this game. Thank you, Warrior Donut. One more minute, guys. We will get started. Actually, we can probably go ahead and get started. How's it going, Dogs of War? Good to see you, man. All right, guys. Make sure you can hear me okay. We're running this particular game here on the actual volume mixer. I've lowered the volume a little bit. So we're going to get started with our scenarios here. And the first one we are going to try is Italy 43. So the length of this scenario is 80 turns. One thing you got to think about this game that's really incredible is this game is realistic down to the last scale. In this particular map scale, you've got 5 kilometers per hex. Let's say you're on maybe a larger map or a map that shows a larger part of a particular country. But maybe not as many men. You might have 20 kilometers per hex. It really, really depends. We've got half-week turns. The unit scale is battalion, regiment, division. The length of the entire thing is 80 turns. Now, this is quite important. Now, for the Allied forces, as you can see, and I love this part, we have so many different forces underneath us that are working with us. We've got British, Canadian, Free French, French colonials, Indian, New Zealand, Poland, South African troops, United States troops, all sorts of different troops. Now, the Axis has the gray, basically the Germans, and of course the yellow, which is representing the Italians. Railroad repair and destruction rules are in effect for the Allies. The Allies have a 33% chance of damaging rail lines and may automatically repair up to 10 locations per turn. So we don't even really have to do anything to get those repairs. Those are going to happen automatically, which is just great. Now, the Germans under Kesselring fell back upon one fortified position after another. Names like the Rheinhold Line, Volturno, Biferno Line, Gustav Line, Cassino, and Anzio would be burned into the souls and minds of Allied troops as they fought over some of the most well-defended and mountainous terrain of the war. Wow. So each of these scenarios has a specific approach, of course. We're going to be taking a look at the actual scenario here of Italy 43. So let's jump in and see what we get. And hopefully we get something interesting here. Give me 1 second, guys. We're trying to figure out what's going on here. Hold on. Might have had a little issue there. Let's try again to jump into Italy. And once again, we are taking the Allied side. So the computer will be playing the Axis. Let's go ahead and jump in here. There we go. Beautiful. So it looks like the Axis will be playing first. You can see them already moving across the map. And I have to say, for somebody that's been watching this game in production for quite a while, there really have been a lot of improvements to the geography here. I really, really enjoy it, and I'm starting to actually see the farmland. I'm starting to see the hilly mountains, and this is going to be quite interesting. So obviously taking Rome would be our main course of action, just slightly south of Vatican City. Vatican City actually being the northern part of Rome itself. We have to try and get there quickly, but you can see the Germans and the Italians are already sending many, many troops to stop us. Again, I do apologize, guys. I am a bit sick today, so you're going to be hearing that annoying cough quite a bit. Man, they have a lot of guys. So they're bringing a lot of tank divisions down, and the more you play of the game, the more you're going to be able to tell the difference between tank divisions, infantry divisions, etc. For those of you that don't know NATO counters, you probably want to learn them before jumping into a game like this. And you can see a lot of the Italian troops are actually going straight to Rome. So we're actually getting attacked right here. And it's preparing the new turn. So now it's our turn to have some fun, guys. We're going to be playing as the Allies, of course. Italy surrenders. Germans begin disarming some Italians. Fulbright resolution adopted. U.S. to be part of the UN. So we already know that we're in such a part of the game where Italy has already surrendered. They don't exactly expect much. We've got some British divisions here in the north and some American divisions here in the south. And I definitely want these guys working together. So I'm actually going to go ahead and take this unit. I'm going to move them up. We are facing some pretty intense enemies here. In fact, a lot of these are armored divisions. Some of them are HQs. And I don't want to move my HQ into the enemy group, but if it means a group move, I'll go ahead and sacrifice it. Why not? Not the HQ, but sacrifice the move. I think the HQ will be just fine. So I think what I'm going to attack is I'm going to go ahead and do a planned attack. So this allows us to see the actual city. And if you see this yellow flag next to the unit, this is essentially letting you know that this unit will cooperate if you select them for the attack. Right now, if we attack with nothing, our losses will be extremely heavy because we're only going to be attacking with essentially one unit. So let's go ahead and bring in the 45th U.S. Army Division 157th Regiment. We'll bring in some more, and you can see now the success. Look at this, guys, how the success is actually changing. I'm also going to bring in some artillery here. Now the probability of success is excellent, and we'll even bring in some bombers just to get some extra kills there on the Germans defending that hex. I'm going to do the same with this guy. Now you can see right there, we didn't actually need to plan an attack. The only reason that generally happens is the enemy force is so weak that you're basically just walking over them. That's what that essentially means. Let's attack again. And again. This time we actually need to go ahead and plan an attack. So we've got this unit as well as a British unit, and yes, our success chance is excellent. Anytime I see an opportunity to destroy an enemy HQ, I'm probably going to be taking that opportunity. Now, let's jump into the chat here. Yeah, feel free to ask, guys. Release date, Warrior Donut tasking. I think that my colleague can probably answer that question for you. Hello, everybody on Facebook. Hello, everybody on YouTube as well. I know we're mainly sticking to Twitch here for viewing, but we will try to get to everybody's comment, of course. Over here with my British units, I'm going to be doing the same thing. The only difference here is I'm going to be doing a single unit move because I want to keep this HQ back. And like most operational war games, you're going to want your HQs to be fairly close to your men. The way I've explained it is you actually want your HQs to be a one hex away at most. You can see right here that the enemy actually got an attack on our 169th London Brigade. And you might be wondering, well, how could they get an attack on us if it's not their turn? Now, there's actually a chance to hit, and depending on the era you're fighting in, so if you're playing in like a modern war, your chance to hit the enemy if you're playing as an advanced power is much higher. So anytime the enemy is moving any unit through the map, if it's near one of your aircraft, there is a chance you're going to hit it. Right now, the Italians and the Germans have that opportunity, so they could hit us for quite a lot. Now, I see this area right here seems pretty weak. I could be wrong, but I'm going to go ahead and try and do a planned attack. Now, of course, you could do the all units attack, but I don't generally do that. And over here, the probability of success is good, and I'm going to send in those 2 bombers just to make sure that the probability of success is actually good and it's not just a fluke. And the rest of these guys are already in an attack, pretty much have them ready to go. We're just waiting for maybe some reinforcements, although quite frankly, I don't even think we need that. We're going to go ahead and see how we do on day 1. So let's end the turn, guys, and the best way to do this is just go ahead and can actually just hit end turn. Don't hit end scenario unless you want the scenario to end prematurely. So let's end the turn, and let's hope for the best, boys. We're turning it over to the Germans. Nice little bomber hit there on the enemy HQ. Come on, let's do this, men. Okay, so 70% of our turn remains, and this part is actually quite important. If you take a look here, this lets us know how many battles actually happened during this turn. So we know that 3 battles occurred, and if we want to take a look at those battles, we want to click on the location. So look at how specific this game gets. This actually gives us the amount of equipment losses that we had, as well as personnel losses. It shows the approximate equipment and personnel losses of the enemy units. It shows how many different enemy units may have supported the defense. It's just really specific. And if we want to go into casualties, we want to look at the defender losses button. And we can see here that we actually disabled an enemy motorcycle squad. We disabled an enemy ferry bridging team, disabled an enemy truck. Excuse me, guys. And we also destroyed numbers of other units. So SMG AT squad, an 81mm mortar. I mean, that's a nasty mortar. We actually managed to destroy them. Let's go to our second battle. This looks like a much bigger one. And sure enough, look at how many enemies we killed here. I mean, you have to imagine this is not just single units. I mean, these are actual squads with, you know, hundreds, maybe thousands of men in them. So we're doing very good here so far. We've also got a combat chart button, and this essentially lets you know what each of the sides did. So it's very hard for me to find a game as realistic as this one in terms of actually getting down to the tactical simulation level. And over here, you can sort of see a border on my men. It is what you think it is. It's a border. It's that simple. I'm going to go ahead and try to hit this tank division. So how do I know it's a tank division? Good question. Primarily because I've played enough operational level war games to know what a NATO tank looks like. But basically, it's a tank division is a square with an oval inside. I think it could also stand for armored cars, but it would look a little different. It would have an X in it. So we're going to go ahead and accept this. Probability of success is fair. So this could go either way, guys. We might not win this battle. I'm also going to plan an attack on this very heavy enemy position here. And we might not actually do very well here. Our probability of success is actually poor. I could cancel this particular attack, and I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cancel all units attack. There's just no point in losing a unit here. What if we attack here? Impossible to predict. Let's take it. We'll let our American troops move forward a little bit. And here we'll plan an attack. A lot of these German units are actually trapped. So actually, I'd like to get some more units up here. We're going to group move. Group move over here as well. And as you can see, now that we've moved our men up, we've got a lot more room to actually attack the enemy. Now, probability of success being fair it's not great. You're taking a risk doing this, of course, but we're willing to take that risk. Let's see what we can do. So most of these guys have already attacked, which means that these other two guys, they're not really going to do much of a difference. They're not going to make much of a difference, I should say. James says he can't wait. I'm glad to hear it, man. Yeah, for Steam, as my colleague said, probably not in the near future. Probably not. Probably very, very important right there in that sentence. Let's plan an attack here, and once again, see how we do. Nah, once again, the success is poor. We'll cancel it. All right, we're going to end the turn, guys. Let's hope for the best. Okay, so we could see here, we did pretty well except for one battle. For the most part, these were all victories, but this one right here, 36-66. Man, we definitely got our asses kicked. There's no other way to put that. 27 of our SMG squads destroyed. That's a serious loss, very serious. 15 disabled and 160mm mortar down. We could look at the defenders' losses. They actually did lose a few squads here. I mean, it was a bloody battle for both sides, but they absolutely won. You can also see the flag of the specific country down here. So this is, of course, Germany, Deutschland. We're going to go ahead and end that. But, you know, you got to move up just a little bit more every turn. And I'm actually putting my HQs on the line here just to try to take out these armored cars. So we're going to try to see if we can attack with just about everybody. Probability of success is poor. Probability of success is good. That's what I'm talking about. And there's actually an enemy HQ in this area. So destroying them would be amazing. Let's see what we can do about these guys. Very poor, very poor. Yeah, the U.S. Ranger Battalion can't attack, so I'm actually going to cancel that. And over here, we're going to try to attack these units that are trapped. So far, we seem to be hitting them pretty well. Success is fair, could be better, but we'll take it. We'll take fair. Why not? Now we're going to see if we can do any damage with these units. And actually, just with the addition of that 36 U.S. Army Division, we increased our chances from poor to excellent. So depending on the division you're taking, if you're taking a really strong division, you might actually get some massive changes. So don't just assume, oh, the enemy's got 3 units, I've got 3 units, I'm not going to do well. No, don't assume that. That's not true at all. Things can change in the blink of an eye in this game and just about any other strategy game you play. Can't wait for this game, says Katmal. Very, very cool, man. Pop-Up 4, you're absolutely right. Pop-Up 4 says, I have the original, could never quite get it. This update, new game, does look more noob-friendly. It absolutely is. And I also have the original, and I work here, and I'm also having a big, big issue. And hello, we've also got a lot of people on our Facebook page. Hello, Marco, Chedrick, and Curtis. Good to see you guys. So Curtis is asking if you'll be able to create your own scenario. I'm going to try to see if I can communicate with my colleague here so that when he sends me a message, I can give you the message or the response here on the Facebook page. Is it available in iOS? As far as I know, no. That would be pretty cool, though. I will admit. That would be pretty awesome. Okay, let's jump back. I apologize for this coughing, guys. I am ill today. I'm not doing great, so you got to bear with me now. And I think we're going to go ahead, and we're already attacking this guy. Let's see if we can maybe finally break through on this end. No, 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 no. So we're going to cancel that. Let's actually deploy and dig in the entire group here. So if the enemy attacks us, we'll be ready, although we have to focus actually on the attacks. And we actually have a British unit here. Look at that, chasing the enemy HQ. And you can see that the actual hexes are, of course, going in our favor. You can also zoom in here if that's what you want to do. Zoom in really, really close. Or you could, of course, pull out, zoom out a bit here, and just take a look at the map from afar. Let's end the turn. No, we don't want to end this scenario. So there we go. A nice hit there on the enemy. I think we've gotten them to retreat. Sure enough, we got some more enemies to retreat. All right, look at that, guys. Pretty nice. Most of these were pretty big victories. This one right here, 28% of the enemy troops destroyed. I've got to look at the casualties here. Wow. Unbelievable. So pretty nice here. We hit the enemy hard, and we can actually see that a lot of their units have run away. over here, but it's now the Axis turn. So you saw we sort of got 3 different movements. Depending on the map you're playing, that's going to change. In this case, the Germans now, it's their turn to move their units around and to essentially try and repel the invasion. Let's take a look here. All right, so they actually sent our Brits back. That's definitely not good. Go home tonight, eat a whole box of X-Lax. Tomorrow you'll be afraid to cough, says Dogs of War. That's a good one, man. I like that. Will scenarios from Rugged Defense be playable with this release? I honestly don't know. It's a good question. Katmai, yeah, so I guess my colleague's going to ask developers about this. We did have one question to my colleague, if you could head over to the Facebook page and check it out there, or just try to answer, will we be able to create our own scenarios? It's a good question. I'm assuming that a lot of the scenarios created here were created by, by individuals like yourselves. Again, that's just an assumption. For many of you that own the original Operational Art of War, you know that this game goes back quite a while, so I really don't know for sure. Now look at that, we just got some reinforcements. In fact, we got some tank reinforcements, and that always makes me very, very happy. And look at that. Fulbright resolution, Salerno has been reduced to ruins, and the Allies successfully defended Salerno, but because of our defense, the Germans blew the hell out of the city. Not the greatest situation for the civilians inside. Alright, so they're here in this town. Try to plan an attack. I'm just trying to attack Eboli. And I want to bring in some more units here for this attack. If I can't, that's okay. It just means our units are out of reach. I might even bring this guy back just to attack. Again, our success rate is very poor. But essentially what I wanted to show you, if you guys take a look here at Salerno, we see the American flag. That means we, of course, control the city. Right now, the flag is probably German over Eboli. But if we actually manage to take the city, it'll change to whatever unit takes it. In this case, British, American, etc., which I find to be a really cool thing. Now, we've actually been playing this battle for about 20 minutes, so I want to go ahead and show you guys some new stuff. Let's go ahead and begin a new game. And I wanted to show you guys the Battle of the Drang Valley 1965, also known as Operation Silver Bayonet. For those of you that have seen the movie We Were Soldiers, you probably know about this battle. This was probably the first time that the Americans and the Vietnamese actually had a proper battle face-to-face. And it is a tough fight. You guys see here, the NVA, that stands for North Vietnamese Army, controls 4 hidden objectives at the beginning of the scenario, which are worth permanent victory points to the US and ARVN. ARVN is, of course, the South Vietnamese Army. The US ARVN player must search for these locations by moving ground units through suspected hexes. However, the victory locations do not become active until after turn 6, and the US ARVN player will be notified the turn following the discovery of a victory location. This really makes things quite challenging for us. We basically got to go through this very dangerous terrain where the North Vietnamese Army is waiting for us into a place that the U.S. has never been before, and we've got to look for these hidden bases. Much like the actual film and the battle itself, this is based on a real battle, of course. That base, that NVA base, we don't know where it is. Our job in this battle is to look for it and destroy it. And of course, you can read the sort of preface to the scenario right here. And of course, this was, like I said, the first real battle, up close and personal, with the Vietnamese. And by the way, thank you so much. We got so many viewers right now. I want to thank everybody for showing up. It's really cool to have just so many people watching, despite the fact that I'm coughing like a madman here, so I do apologize. But I appreciate it, guys. Okay, let's see. So we're going to jump back here and jump into Drang. So actually, I think I messed up one thing there. Hold on a second. I want to play as the Americans. So we're going to go ahead and select Drang. U.S. Army Arvin computer. Nope. Yes, that's what we want. All right, let's get back to the fight. All right, the North Vietnamese are going to be moving first. You can see this area is almost entirely jungle. There we go. Game has begun. NVA regulars attack Plei Mei. Special Forces camp. Viet Cong guerrilla activity increases. And the NVA controls the hidden objectives at the start of the game. Pretty cool. So we're starting out here. This is a U.S. Army force at Plei Mei camp. So this is an area which needs serious assistance. As you can see, we're being attacked here. We're not on the offensive. So we've got to start bringing these guys forward. We got a lot of Ranger squads. So I'm going to start moving our Ranger squads forward. We've got to get immediately to the Plei Mei camp. Obviously, we're following highways, roads, things like this. We're going to move faster. But to get into this area, we're kind of going out of our way, essentially, to get here. So let's keep on moving some boys in. I also like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but the music changes depending on the sort of scenario you're playing. This one is much more sort of an oriental themed thing. And we've got some bombers here. These guys can help us at any point. Probably napalm, bombers, all sorts of stuff. If you actually take a look at the units A1 and AC-47 GSWs, you can sort of determine what kind of units these are, you know, what they're capable of, etc. And especially for those of you that already are familiar with NATO groups, this is going to help big time. Are these hidden hexes random every time you play the scenario? I don't think they are. I think they're, once you play it, you probably know where they are, but I could be wrong. Maybe they are random. Okay. And Dogs of War says, to answer your question over here, Curtis, you will be able to create your own scenarios for sure. But you've got to have some serious skill, because this is, it's interesting, but it's a tough game. So I really do want to attack with our Special Forces unit outside of the base, but I just don't think it's a good idea. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to dig in the entire group. End the turn. Let's see what the North Vietnamese army does. Oh my goodness, look at how many of them just showed up. All right, and we've got some reinforcements. Wonderful. So, unfortunately, our reinforcements are another Special Forces group. Well, fortunately, but unfortunately. They are another Special Forces group, but this is all we're getting. Not huge. I'm going to see how they do against the NVA. So let's take a look here. Probability of success is impossible to predict. I'm going to bring in some bombers to assist. We're sending every single one of our bombers here. And you can actually see the support AP increase. So if we take the bombers away, we're going to get 25. If we go ahead, and these are combat odds, if we go ahead and increase this, that's going to increase as well. Really fascinating stuff. I want to back out just a little bit, and I want to keep sending units in. We're going to get to Route 6C. And we're essentially trying to get our groups to save that base. And then, of course, we move on from there to look for the enemy base. We've got some more reinforcements over here as well, so we're still getting reinforcements. And of course, during this actual battle, the U.S. did call Broken Arrow, which is essentially the U.S. call sign for bringing every single aircraft capable of bombing into the country and just laying waste to one area. So the Americans did have to do this during this battle. Now, you've got to be careful with your choppers. Some of these choppers will move men around. So, for instance, this is a cavalry support chopper. Some of the choppers are used for attack situations. So, for instance, you know, like to use your bombers to increase your chances or your odds of winning in a particular scenario. Okay. So, we're going to end the turn. Nothing we can really do here, but let's hope that our Special Forces do a good job. We'll end the turn. Looks like they did retreat, but see, now we've gotten some guys out of the base, which may have actually been better for the enemy. So 3% losses on our side, 7% on the enemy. Really just a very... The battle, it's not really worth it. Even with all that bomber support, the enemy was still able to hide from us and not take many losses. And that's actually sort of the story of the Vietnam War entirely. I mean, more bombs were dropped on Vietnam than all of the forces of World War II, Axis and Allies combined. And we still, the Americans were still not able to win the war. So this battle, each battle is different in this game, and that's the truth. In this battle, maybe the air power is not as good as you expect it to be. The enemy certainly retreats a lot faster, and that makes things a lot more difficult for you. So the highway to Duck Cove cut by NVA, that's going to lower supplies. It's going to make everything harder for us, and we want to be absolutely aware of that. All right, come on, boys. Now we're going to do some serious damage to these NVA bastards. Come on. So as you can see, their artillery is immediately going to retreat. I don't want to be stuck in a Dien Bien Phu situation, which, if you don't know, is a battle that the French fought against the Vietnamese before the Americans arrived. Horrible loss for the French. We've also got some really nice bombers here, so I'm going to commit them to the attack. And I'm kind of I'm resting a lot on these bombers, and look at that, now we know this is a support chopper. So this chopper is going to come in with its missiles, with its guns, and just try to wipe the enemy out, basically. So we're going to accept that. I might try an attack against this unit here. And so if you see here, this chopper is actually responsible for deploying men, so we went ahead and deployed some units. Some of the choppers are used to deploy, some of the choppers are used to, basically attack from the air. It really depends. I'm gonna go ahead and move this guy through. But I really don't like these Vietnamese forces massing near us over here. It's making me very uncomfortable. Probability of success is poor. Forget that. Let's end the turn. Hope for the best. Okay, so there we actually did extremely well. 18% of the enemy lost, and we lost nothing. And you can actually see here how many different, we had F4s, A1s, AC-47s, all bombing the hell out of this area. So this time our bombs found their target for sure. I mean, you can see here the amount of enemy destroyed, the amount of enemy disabled is pretty significant. And I think that certainly shows that we've got to keep this sort of thing up. Of course, if the enemy's cutting us off behind the lines, it's going to be very hard to do that. So we've got to keep that in mind as well. Let's take a look here at Zichet. Why don't you have the probability of success in this case? It absolutely depends, Robert, depending on the scenario you're choosing. For instance, if you're playing the scenario, the Desert Storm scenario, I found, for instance, that if you've got like just a few tank divisions and you're facing like 7 or 8 Iraqi tank divisions, all you really need is like 1 or 2 Air Force bombers with you, and you just vaporize them. They disappear like almost instantly. On combat, do the color of the flags change for units that can be part of the attack? This is a good question, actually, from Pop-Up 4. So let's try to mount an attack over here, and I'll show you what happens here. So if we plan an attack, the colors themselves, you can see we have a little yellow flag next to us. If we click that, this is now part of the attack. If we click this unit, he's now part of the attack. The color of the flag doesn't change. The one thing that does change is the time expended. So for instance, if maybe this guy's in town, he's over here in the fort, if we bring him out, that's going to take a long time to destroy the enemy. And sometimes you want to be really, really fast in your fights. You don't want to take forever. So if we wanted this to be a faster battle, we could obviously get rid of that, but we're going to lower our overall attack. Right now, our attack is 56 plus 5. If we add this unit, it's 62 plus 17. So we're going to go ahead, add it, and hope for the best. And I'm also going to try to attack this guy that's right in the way of all our men. 2, 3. Success is good, and we've got some support here from a U.S. Army Arvin chopper. All right, here we go. Ending the turn. Sure enough, we got some of them to retreat there. And look at that, 30% of the enemy down, 18% of the enemy down, 10%. We're doing pretty damn good right now. You know, we're really, really doing quite well. But this can be deceiving. As they say, looks can be deceiving because, especially during this battle, you know, the initial attack by the American forces was quite effective. But then the NVA brought in reinforcements. They started flanking the Americans. They started attacking from all sides, and all hell broke loose. And we can see the actual battle took place here in the Drang Valley. Chupong, all these areas were more or less untouched by the battle. So we should actually be a little more to the west. So we've actually started the battle here, which leads me to believe that we're probably going to be moving that way as the battle continues. Probably going to have to cross a river. We'll have to see what happens, of course. Yes, this is the Battle of Drang Valley series. So essentially the first battle that the Americans had against the North Vietnamese army in open combat. So I think after this battle, you could technically call it like maybe a Pyrrhic American victory. But it was after this battle that the Americans really realized that we can't fight the Vietnamese, you know, in these open battles because they're not going to show up. You know, in this battle they did. In future battles, they really didn't. From then on, the Vietnamese would basically attack, launch an ambush attack, and then retreat, which was the best thing they could do. Retreat back into the jungle, avoid casualties, and take out some Americans on the way. Much better idea. Now over here you can see we've got some other reinforcements, although these guys are cut off, and these are once again U.S. Army ARVN units, but unfortunately they're stuck here for now. Maybe we have to reach them. They could be completely cut off from supply. I'm not sure, but we've got to keep that in mind. All right, guys, I'm going to end this turn. And sure enough, once again, we did very well there. So 1%, 30% of the enemy. We can take a look and see which of our men were lost. Too bad. One of our AT squads is disabled. Hopefully they just ran out of ammunition. And they also got some replacements. So this also lets you know whether or not you're getting replacements for your units. And not bad. Now, of course, it's the North Vietnamese turn. And just like the real Battle of Drang, they're already starting to flank us all the way at Pleiku City. So this is actually pretty damn realistic. And they've just sent our special forces back. They've also taken our special forces base from us. They're now in control of that base. That's going to make things very hard on us. This was a major attack. And like I was telling you before, it's exactly what the NVA, the North Vietnamese Army, did during this battle. It's just push the Americans out, attack in great numbers, retreat, attack again, so on and so forth, for just an entire battle. And this battle, I believe, actually lasted more than one day. I know for sure that the Americans were stuck there overnight. And if you're stuck in a jungly area, jungly, that sounds weird. If you're stuck in a jungle overnight, you guys can probably imagine that the chances of you getting any supplies or you getting any sort of victory points are impossible. Now, this is the negative aspect of this. You guys read at the beginning of the scenario that whoever captures these camps keeps them permanently. In other words, if we overrun the enemy camp, but then they push us back, we still have won that camp. And right here, they've overrun our Special Forces camp. We've already lost one of the camps here, a very important one, and certainly the North Vietnamese feel quite happy. And you can see here that in this battle, for instance, the enemy killed 35% of our guys. Man, just really kicked our asses bad. And that's no fun, but it happens, even to the best of us. Let's take a look here at the chat. Great, thank you, says good old Jin. Looks like a definite day one buy. Very cool, Julia. It was a great game. It looks very similar. Queue of the development. Thanks, bud. We'll get there when we get there, says, oh my god, Superman. He responded to good old's question perfectly. That's what we'd say too. I like that answer. We'll get there when we get there. No, we really would love to tell you guys, but we've gotta be patient here. Let's take a look here at our Facebook. And thank you, everybody, both on Facebook and on Twitch for stopping by here. You guys are awesome. I mean, it's really been a while since we've had this many viewers, and I really appreciate it. I want to go ahead and take a look here, guys, at the other scenarios. I want to give you guys an idea of just how vast this game is, but I'm not going to give everything away. So just looking right now, you guys can already see that we go from the end of World War II, 1945, or the beginning of World War II, or even if you want, World War I. We could do Balkans, 1912, the first Balkan War. Balkans, 1940, actually even before World War I should say. Balkans, 1913, etc. And these are just, you can do World War II, World War I, virtually any battle. What I find really fascinating, what I love the most, is if we go into the modern. And I'm not going to show you all of the modern battles, but you can see here we've got modern Asia, we've got modern Middle East, modern miscellaneous, modern NATO versus Warsaw. We've also got some hypothetical ones. So hypothetical is, maybe if this happened, what would occur? If this happened, what would occur, etc. And we've got, of course, the classics from the Operational Art of War, the first game, that are, of course, going to be ported over to this game. I want to take a look at modern Middle East. I just think it's really fascinating, and it just gives you an idea of the many different things you can do here. You can actually fight in the Suez Canal. The Egyptian crossing of the Suez Canal. One person plays as Israel, one person plays as the Egyptians. We've also got the 6-Day War, of course, played by the Israeli Defense Forces against the Arabic countries. I mean, just the different possibilities are incredible. And of course, Saddam's final gamble. You guys should know about this one, the invasion of Iraq by the United States. And of course here, you can play as Saddam, you can play as the U.S., or as we like to call them, the coalition forces. And this is just one folder of many. I mean, you guys saw how many folders we had there. I didn't even show you guys all the folders. There's a lot more there. But I'm just showing you guys just a tiny, tiny snippet of what you can expect. Anyway, guys, I do want to say that I thank you so much for showing up. I do hope you enjoyed this. If you did, let us know. I'm sorry for all the coughing. Like I said, I was not doing well today, and I hope to be better here in a few days. But thank you so much for stopping by. I could see a lot of you guys are excited about the Operational Art of War 4, and I can't wait to show you guys more of the game. So thank you so much, guys, for stopping by. Thank you, folks on Twitch, folks on Facebook. Just really great people, and I think you guys are going to like this game big time. No problem, Dogs of War, no problem at all. All right, my friends, I think we did okay. We could have done better. Losing that Special Forces camp was no fun, but war is war. And the Operational Art of War 4 is a great game. Thanks for watching, my friends. Take care, and have an awesome